The Raccoon City Orphanage is one of the most interesting locations that we get to visit during our adventures in Resident Evil 2. However, its significance is entirely confined to the documents, so unless you're keeping up with reading and puzzling them together, then it's likely going to seem a strange choice for Irons to take Sherry there once he's managed to kidnap her. It's also a location that was chosen to appear in the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie, and even though they changed up certain events that occur there for the film, it made me curious enough to want to make a video about the actual events that we know happened there in the canon of the games.
Stupid kid. If you just...
So, to begin, the Raccoon City Orphanage was founded and operated by the Umbrella Corporation with the help of funds raised by donations from the citizens and businesses of Raccoon. Presumably, it was run as a way to curry favor with the people of the city and shed a philanthropic light on the company to make them seem like a well-meaning and helpful organization. Umbrella going so far as to install Police Chief Brian Irons as director of the project, both to bolster the orphanage's credibility and reflect a positive, charitable light onto Irons. However, while the citizens of the city may have thought their donations and support were going to children in need, the truth was much less uplifting. Behind the closed doors of the orphanage, Umbrella was using these kids as their own personal backlog of guinea pigs, taking vulnerable children with no support system and shutting them off from the outside world entirely, keeping them docile with treats like ice cream while simultaneously prepping them for the twisted experiments in their underground laboratory. These children would be raised as candidates for viral weapons research, and when the scientists of Nest had need of them, they would tell the child that they were getting adopted, no doubt providing an excitement that would quickly be crushed as they descended deeper and deeper into the city's sewer system. To the orphans remaining, they would be happy for their peers who had been taken, believing them to have gone to good homes, living rich lives that kept them from returning any correspondence with their former friends at the orphanage. Of course, there were those who were skeptical of the stories the orphanage workers told them, perhaps even seeing things that confirmed their suspicions, but in the end, with no proof, these tales would be relegated to scary stories, fiction told to the younger kids to give them a scare. And so things would go at the orphanage for years. Children taken from their beds to fuel the curiosities of the boogeymen that operated beneath their feet. That is, until 1997, when a child named Oliver would be adopted and taken into the laboratories of the Nest facility to be a subject in experiments with the G virus. For over 2 months, Oliver and another unnamed orphan would be subjected to the cruel experiments of the scientists, stripped of their humanity and simply being referred to as Subject 628 and Subject 639. The Nest researchers attempting to see if Oliver's resistance to the T-virus would have any effect on his infection with G. Unfortunately for Oliver, his resilience to T would prove irrelevant, and he would be taken to be monitored by the researchers as to how G would develop inside him. However, before G could completely consume the young man's mind, Oliver would manage to escape from the captivity of the researchers, navigating his way back through the city's sewer system and returning to the only place he'd come to know as home. He would scream to his old friends for help, begging them as they cowered from their disfigured friend, his skin seeming to melt and peel from his body. Oliver would unfortunately be recaptured by the security at the orphanage and detained, the children being told that he was being treated for a skin condition. A lie that many of them would likely question, but a lie that they would have little time to look at with a critical eye, Due to the breach of the facility, it was deemed by Brian Irons as too risky that Subject 628 had infected one of the orphans living within the building. And so, shortly after Oliver's detainment, they would kill the remaining children of the orphanage, eliminating the threats of any unforeseen infection, blowing Umbrella's cover as a philanthropic, caring corporation.
Commitment, honesty, integrity, these are the core values that create the foundation for Umbrella.
Citizens who were concerned about the silence that now permeated the halls of the orphanage were told that the children had been taken to another facility due to the dilapidated state of the current one. A lie that successfully warded off any real investigation, as Umbrella had kept the children isolated from the city at large to begin with. Not to mention the chief of police being the one in charge of the building. And so, the memory of the unfortunate souls of this place drifted away into nothingness. The only proof that they ever existed at all being the journals that they left behind. To me, this is one of the most interesting stories that we get to learn about in Resident Evil 2. And it's all told to us from clues through the documents. It gives the location such a creepy vibe when you visit it, knowing what really happened there. It's arguably the most cruel tale of Umbrella's power that we have, and it's something that I don't think most people will fully piece together during their first playthrough, or at least I certainly didn't. Anyways, thank you all for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.